Imagine a knight standing alone at dawn. His armor is simple, worn by travel and war. On his chest, a red cross shaped like a sword burns against white cloth. He is not a king. He is not a crusader marching to the Holy Land. Yet he has sworn an oath that binds faith, blood, and duty together for life. This is the story of the warriors who guarded pilgrims, fought kings, and shaped the fate of medieval Spain. This is the story of the Order of Santiago. To understand the Order of Santiago, we must return to 12th century Iberia. Spain was not one kingdom, it was a battlefield of beliefs. Christian realms in the north pushed southward, seeking to reclaim lands ruled by Muslim states for centuries. This long struggle would later be called the Reconquista. Pilgrims crossed dangerous roads, traveling toward the shrine of St. James in Santiago de Compostela. Bandits, war, and lawless frontiers made these journeys deadly. Faith needed protection, and protection needed warriors who believed their sword was a sacred tool. In the year 1170, a group of knights gathered with a single purpose: to defend pilgrims and fight for Christian lands in Spain. They placed themselves under the protection of St. James the Greater, the warrior saint believed to ride into battle against enemies of the faith. Unlike monks who fled the world, these men stepped directly into violence, but with vows that transformed war into religious service. They became the Order of Santiago. Their symbol was unmistakable: a crimson cross shaped like a sword. Faith and steel fused into one. Unlike the Templars or Hospitallers, the Order of Santiago broke tradition. Its knights were allowed to marry. They could own land. They could pass titles to heirs. This made the order deeply tied to Spanish nobility. Fathers trained sons not only to pray, but to fight as holy warriors. Yet this freedom came with strict discipline. Knights followed religious rules, answered to their Grand Master, and placed loyalty to the order above personal ambition. They were not monks with swords. They were warriors with a sacred mission. A Knight of Santiago lived between two worlds. By morning, he prayed. By noon, he trained with lance and sword. By night, he stood guard over roads, castles, and frontier towns. Their castles were not just fortresses. They were administrative centers controlling land, taxes, and military power. The order grew rich. Gold, farmland, and influence flowed into its hands. And with power came danger. The Order of Santiago was no ceremonial brotherhood. They fought relentlessly in the Reconquista. Mounted knights charged across dry plains. Infantry held mountain passes. Sieges dragged on for months under the sun. These were brutal wars, but the order believed each battle carried divine meaning. To fall in combat was not tragedy. It was salvation. Songs were written about Santiago knights riding into battle shouting, "St. James and victory." As centuries passed, the order's wealth rivaled royal treasuries. Its armies could rival those of kings. And kings began to worry. Who truly ruled the land, the crown or the cross? Spanish monarchs sought control over the Order of Santiago, installing loyal grand masters or manipulating leadership from within. Internal rivalries turned deadly. Assassinations, coups, and political intrigue weakened the order from inside. The knights who once protected pilgrims now found themselves entangled in royal power struggles. By the late 15th century, Spain was changing. The Reconquista neared its end. Unified monarchs sought centralized authority. Ferdinand and Isabella, the Catholic monarchs, moved carefully but decisively. In 1493, control of the Order of Santiago passed into royal hands. The knights still existed. The vows remained. But the age of independence was over. The sword now served the crown. As firearms replaced armor and borders stabilized, the Order of Santiago faded from warfare. Yet it did not disappear. The order transformed into a symbol of honor, lineage, and tradition. Membership became a mark of noble heritage rather than military duty. The red sword cross still exists today, not stained by blood, but heavy with history. It reminds Spain of a time when faith and war walked hand in hand. The Order of Santiago was never just about fighting. It was about identity, about belief strong enough to demand sacrifice, about a world where faith explained chaos and steel enforced order. These knights lived knowing death could come at any moment, and believing that moment was part of a divine plan. They were not heroes in shining legends. They were men shaped by fear, hope, and conviction. When we speak of medieval knights, we often imagine shining armor and noble quests. But the Order of Santiago reminds us of a harder truth. History is forged where belief becomes action, where ideals demand blood, where faith must choose between mercy and steel. And long after the swords were laid down, the echoes of those choices still remain. Because the road to Santiago was never just a path across Spain. It was a journey through the soul of the medieval world.